one. And we're back.
GM.
G morning.
Welcome
How
back
goes?
to your favorite pirate radio.
How was your day off? We didn't get too crazy without you.
What did you guys talk about?
A little bit of this, a little bit of that.
Yeah, I mean, I missed it. It's part of the routine now.
You're gonna have to listen in. I mean,
Yeah, I will. I'll go listen to it after this.
I'm a bit offended. You didn't even check to see if we blew it up.
I mean, I saw who the guests were and embarrassed. Just kidding.
It's more like you saw who the guests were and you knew they didn't want to lose their jobs, so you're like, okay, can't go that bad.
Because he just bullies them.
I was just like, we had a virtual room on the side also. It was like a separate feed where we could show our actual cameras, and I was like pointing at them and scolding them the whole time. What did you call yourself? My spectrum sitter?
Spectrum sitters. Yeah, it's like it's specialized babysitters for children that are on the spectrum.
Who came up with? Well, you would know. This is just a broad question. Who would come up with that name? Like, why would you? I don't know what parent would want to hire a.
Dude, do you see how fast I found it? It is optimized for SEO.
Clearly.
It's just like you could guess what I searched for it, and it was the first thing that came up.
Yeah. Babysitting an autistic man. Spectrum sitter. Yeah, we kept it kind of casual. I just kind of gave them some time to talk about them a little bit and what makes them terminally online, what they're doing on chain. Denton's always has a list of like completely bottom of the barrel in the trenches dog shit that he's trading. So, always a fun convo.
Yeah, he pings me on some stuff, and I'm like, not interested. Thank you though. And he's like, I didn't want you to like ape into it. I was just sharing it with you. I'm like, still same response.
He's like, but if you aped, did you ape?
But he's like, but I know these guys.
Yeah. He's like, just saying, if you do ape, I know them. So, wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
Did you book the flight yet?
I have it in my phone, but no, I didn't book the flight.
Okay. We're going to permissionless, everybody.
Yeah. We're going to permissionless. I'm still talking to my wife whether I'm going late the night before or early the morning of.
I'm just going early the morning of.
And the reasoning being that like, I'll be in a much better condition for actually like getting shit done if I have good sleep. Yeah. And yeah, I mean, I wouldn't. It's not like I would go out or anything. I would just bring my Switch and play Smash Brothers or Fortnite alone in my room.
As one does, when we're in our 30s, as one does. Yeah, I mean, I'm typically like that on travel, and I'm doing that from Asari, getting in the night before, but it's not too long of a flight for me, and
it's not bad.
I need the weekend. We got a lot of stuff coming up next week, so I need the extra time that night. So
I'm back home for like a day. Like I get in when I fly back, I'll be home for a day, and then I fly back to Texas for a special event.
Ooh, I heard about this very special event.
I don't want to.
Special guest.
I don't want to push it out yet. I don't know how public he wants that to be, but good friend tying the knot. So I'll be back.
Take
I'll be
take
back
some
down there.
pictures and throw the PFPs on top of them.
Oh yeah, I will while I'm there. We'll
Will
definitely
we
see
see
that.
him? Oh, he's an hour away
Yeah.
in Austin.
If that event wasn't taking place,
He probably would be going.
I would say it would be like 100% chance that he would have been there.
Yeah.
Being because of his event going on, I
Other
don't.
people that are going to both things.
Yeah, for sure. Well,
Okay.
the other thing is like I don't really know who's going. You know, I'm pretty sure it was uh, like not too widespread.
Mm, gotcha. Gotcha.
Yeah. Um.
Yeah, you got a lot of traveling too, dude.
Yeah, I'll be there. No permissionless, and then back here for a day, then back to Texas, then back home. Then I'm doing my taxes.
Same. Yeah, I have to do my taxes. I have to do my taxes between Masari and SmartCon.
Between permissionless and or between the wedding and SmartCon, yeah, I have to get my
Yeah,
taxes done. I've been
yeah.
like, I keep putting it off because I have other shit that I have to do, and like we've had so much going on that um every day just flies by, and before I know it, I'm like, fuck, I can't start on this. And I just don't want to. Like it's just like
Yeah.
such a headache every year. It's the one thing I miss about like normal work. My taxes were fucking dead simple. You didn't have to do them really. They're
Yeah,
already done for you. You
we get
just
withheld at source. Yeah, it's super nice.
now
Web3 things.
oh,
Jeez. All
now
right.
yeah, no.
You want to start diving into things?
Yeah, let's dive into things. What were we on yesterday? We were touching on it a bit. I feel like it was our
Option
own
talk.
our own options talk. Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe we can um we'll jump into some of this. Uh
Yeah, I mean, the biggest
do you want to
thing is
go
that
about
like ARC,
privacy
ARC
pools or
just
ARC?
filed an ETH spot ETF. That's it. I mean, the market like moved a percentage and then fully retraced like within an hour.
Oh,
Within an hour. So
I I'm just like I'm not I don't get excited when I hear any of these ETF announcements anymore because I feel like
you shouldn't because no one else is.
like like it causes this like immediate, very short term volatility and then it's just gone. Like it's completely muted
It's
within.
all long leverage positions. So like
Yeah.
you get a lot more bang for your buck, right? Because they're all like long leverage positions. But then they're like, well, where's the follow through? There's no follow through for them to exit on. So then they just close them back up.
Yeah, so I'm like I was actually going to bring up like the market is so boring right now. I every day I get up every day I check price, bad price. I need devs to do something.
Every day check price, bad price.
When is Cancun? Want to go to Cancun?
Denku's not to end the year, but look, I mean, we're about to hit a major conference circuit. We got
That's
permissionless,
bad. That's
Token
bad for price.
2049, Masari Mainnet, SmartCon, ETH Milan, like then I think some of the ETH Indias, then DevConnect in Istanbul. It's like it's going for the next like 2 months. It's gonna be a straight circuit. So like
So that means that
not some
like
good announcements. I'm gonna be pissed.
we're gonna have like a week of like complete mute volatility or we just chop sideways. Then 2 days before the conference, price is gonna run up a few percent. Conference starts and it's gonna be straight to Hades for a week, and then it will come back a little bit. We'll almost come back to support and it's gonna just chop again, and then conference is gonna start straight to Hades for another 4 days. It's common. I'm trying to think which conference is not cursed, but
ETH Denver's usually not cursed, I think, but
price wise during the conference
and
circuit,
maybe ETHCC. But for the most part, yeah, most conferences are cursed.
Yeah, it's not looking forward to that.
And when I say cursed, I mean like there's not a significant move in either direction instead of just going down.
August trading volume hit a 4.5-year low.
Yeah.
It's insane.
I
I
think
would have
August, it
thought
was like 2 trillion or something. It was like, it was spot volume. But yeah, I think it was like 2.09 trillion in August. Spot and derivatives trading volume.
are they
It's 11%
taking into account
reduction month over month. So yeah, now we're in I mean, if that's not a tall tale sign of a
bottom?
bear market, I don't know what is.
What are they taking into account on-chain volume as well? Which I know isn't like significant, but it's still
Centralized only, I think.
yeah. I wonder if any significant volume happening on chain would move that needle for the metric a bit, or if
I don't know. I mean, what Uniswap beats Coinbase some days, but like I don't think they get anywhere near Binance.
it's more about consistency of people like deploying capital on chain and doing things on chain. Like if it's just like a straight volume metric, then like that's why I think it matters a little bit more. If we're looking at like
I mean, if you look at
TVL,
transaction volume on Ethereum is a pretty bullish chart. Especially if you pull in the roll ups, like that is a very bullish looking chart. But yeah, I mean,
hold on one sec.
Does this just mean that we can do like more stupid shit for cheaper, and that's what we're doing? Just because we're so bored, we're just like we're just doing more degenerate things. I don't know, taking more risk. I will say that, especially in the derivatives markets, like especially if you're trading perps, it's just like one of the hardest things is just to sit on your hands, right?
I think generally,
the discipline.
It's like it's weird because even though it's like a risk off kind of like environment, you have the people that are on chain are like extremely risk on, and like we were just talking about like Denton, right? Like he's just like he completely lives on chain. So like the the not only risk tolerance, but I think like the risk spectrum, right? Like what they consider risky or what people who generally do the majority of their volume and trading on chain. I feel like they that you inherently are more tolerable to taking risks on these new chains, these new types of projects, these experimentations that people are doing. So like there's this, I don't know, piece of like the pie of volume that is pretty significant, but like won't ever venture on chain or won't ever venture off chain to a centralized exchange.
I'm going to put my notes from earlier this week, though, because I'm pretty sure August options was like killing it. Yes. 17% growth in August if you include options, because Ether options, and I've been sharing this chart, Bitcoin open interest on the option space keeps on going down and ETH keeps on going up.
Yep.
I don't know what the direction is, but just like open interest in general. I mean, it's still like 20% of what Bitcoin's open interest is, but the chart's bullish at least.
Please pump my Vitalik betaines.
I mean, yeah, we live and die by that sword, so it's a good thing it's a bullish chart.
Marty, what's happening, pimp?
Another day. Can you hear me?
Oh, I totally forgot Marty was enjoying the stream today.
I can hear you. I didn't know that. I told him my Spectrum sitter was back. He said to drop him a link, so
Oh yeah, my bad. He did. Sorry, Marty.
The intern, bro. That fucking intern guy. Fire that guy. I'm just waiting on a little lunch. Just had a couple meetings this morning. Now a little lunch.
The Brazilian, the BBB life.
The land of the bees. Literally only a handful of people understand.
Understand what?
The land of the bees.
Oh.
Brazil.
The Brazilian beaches, beers, and booties.
What was that? A B or a T?
A B.
Oh, B.
Yeah, 2Ds, DK. 2Ds.
2Ds, all B's.
Oh, got it. Got the joke.
What's cracking?
So let me tell you about this new screen, DK. All right? No, just kidding.
Yeah.
What's going on, guys?
I know. On Samsung.
I think we all have the same screen.
Yeah. I have two of them. I have one of them in a box.
Oh no! I heard the first part of the show. Yeah, going into like the options volume, it was just.
Let's talk about that.
Yeah, I don't know the exact number, right? Because I was more focused on the hat business this month, but it was high. It was really high compared to other months, and you also saw the market not doing shit, right? You saw these, I don't know, crypto specific news. We talked about it a little bit yesterday. Crypto specific news in terms of, I don't know, ETF shit. I can't take it anymore. ETF this, ETF that. It's kind of like this futures ETF. When the futures ETF got approved, oh my God, it's going to change the world. The whole world is going to be whatever crypto.
No,
the price is going to be.
You're still the only person I know that said that. And I always argue with you about it because you're the only person that I know that says it. Like,
do you talk to a lot of maxi, like Bitcoin maxis, DK, or Marty?
No,
because that's like a really common thing.
ETFs for forever, dude.
I know, but like the maxis swear to God that like every time an ETF like gets filed or gets talked about, that it's gonna like that is what the industry need. Like that's the thing that's missing. And I mean that used to be how. That's why I was mentioning like
from a spot perspective, sure. But when I'm speaking specifically about Marty and him bringing up the futures thing.
Okay.
It's because fucking retail doesn't get it, right? Maybe I'm just in my own little ecosphere echo bubble of Twitter, right? But oh my God, this futures ETF is going to be revolutionizing for the space. And then it came and nothing happened. And then people don't understand spot ETF versus leveraged futures ETF and that conversation. And now everybody's focused on this hype, this new spot ETF. Oh, January this, January that. I don't know. I'm just in the camp like. It doesn't even matter.
Because in the same regard, if an institution wanted to enter the space, they could have entered via CME like forever ago. Right? So like a futures ETF means no different to me than a futures CME product, whether it be mini or not.
Well, that's what the futures ETF is based on.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying.
The CME product. Weird. But yeah, no, the CME's been around. You can do, what is it, Bitto? There's a few of them that are out there now, but it's like now all eyes on the spot ETF and the halving front run. I'm sure we see some pickup either in price or vols leading into these events. But if fucking shit doesn't change, then I don't know. Like what? We're at 25 right now. We're going to go to 28.
12K is still in play.
This is not in. All right, horny. You're being horny right now.
Capo. What's that guy's name? Capo,
yeah. 12K. Yeah. 12K
still in play. Mm-hmm. Oh, but besides that, it just feels like we're going to build up into this. Maybe price and vols pick up. Amazing. And then like on launch day, it has some, let's say every day it has a new all-time volume because it's only 3 days old, right? And then I think it just like fades away. Like I think that these people are preparing for what's to come. Maybe the world is tokenized and revolutionized digitally, and we are living in the digital world, and these people are front running it. But I don't think that it changes the whole dynamic of the crypto space in the first week. Maybe I'm absolutely off.
Riddle me this, as we have this as a talking point today, and I think this is probably the most impacting news that we've seen in a long time. And yet most people won't understand it. It's the FASB's accounting rule change, or proposed accounting rule change. So
talk about it, Daddy.
All
yeah,
right.
talk to me like I'm 6. Okay.
Okay. So right now, and I haven't read any of the articles that came out today. I just briefly saw the headlines on it, and I saw what the accounting change was. So I'm going to be going based on like my memory, and my memory's not perfect. However, my understanding of the law, right, or of accounting rules right now, is that if you hold any crypto assets on your balance sheet, you are not allowed to market those items. So the position, the cost when you take on that asset is then marked as the value as an asset. Now, let's say that you marked that at 60K and you bought the top for Bitcoin, and then the price comes all the way down to 15K, right? You have to mark the market down.
Mm-hmm.
So now your assets are coming down, right? Now you're marking this asset at like, real bad, marking it at 1/4 of what it was when you acquired it. You are not allowed to take any appreciation on that mark. So the second it goes from 15 to 30, you still have to hold it on your books as 15. So it really fucks with people with like big corp, like having a large crypto position on your balance sheet has a lot more impact because you're not allowed to do regular mark to mark, and like you can't do like a daily accounting on that. Now, whether or not that plays into fund accounting, like exchange traded fund accounting, ETF accounting, I don't know. And I don't know the impact of this, if this rule applies to just like typical corporates, like publicly listed corporates, or if for exchange traded assets like an ETF, if it applies to the fund, like net asset value and fund accounting here too. Because if it applies to the ETF accounting, then it doesn't make sense because you won't be able to price the asset properly, so it probably doesn't account for it. But if it does, then we shouldn't expect any ETF pickup until 2025, because this proposed change, which they said today, allows you to do traditional mark to market on that asset, either like on a daily basis, right? So it goes up, you can mark it up; it goes down, and you can mark it down. You can continue to hold it on your balance sheet. How the tax treatment of unrealized gains and stuff like materially changes. There's like a bunch of different things that materially change from a 30,000 feet up of running a big corporate. Now, the proposed rule is they're discussing it today. That's the discussion in its current form, which is very simple. It's like a one-liner. It's literally like crypto assets can now be mark-to-market valued. And then it would get voted in early next year. And then the start date would be the last day of 2024. So you would I don't know if it's, now this is where also I don't know the answer to. I don't know if in terms of audited financial statements, that means that in 2025 is the first time that they will recognize it in audited financial statements, or if it means that it is from the second that it's approved, then you can start doing it. It's just that they're not going to enforce it if you're still in the old method. So that's another thing. So that's another thing that plays into this. If it's immediately recognized once approved, and everyone can change their balance sheet accounting to account for this because it's now recognized, then that will expedite things. But if it's the latter and they can't actually utilize these benefits until 2025, then we're not going to see like a bunch of crypto assets on people's balance sheets, like a Tesla or a
MicroStrategy.
Yeah, exactly.
No, right here. Companies have to review the value of such assets at least once a year and write it down if it drops only below the purchase price. If the value were to rise, company can record a gain only when they sell the asset, not if they continue holding it. So crypto Twitter is going to have a fucking field day trying to read people's quarterly financial statements or annual reports
for unrealized gains that are not accounted for on the balance sheet or on the income statement.
Yeah, exactly. And this
says, a bunch of sleuths.
Yeah, it's gonna get bad. It says public companies, accounting U.S. public and private companies. So I'm not sure how that works with a private company. I guess it just depends on who you file with and when you file it.
Arkham Intel is here to save the day for them.
Arkham tokens, 10x opportunity.
I fucking hate that company.
Is it FactSet? We're gonna have a bunch of people in crypto getting subscriptions to FactSet now.
Oh god. But yeah, so it's going to be interesting because you're going to have a lot of new experts in the space on accounting and how to market Bitcoin. So coming to a research paid group near you.
You know the rules on marketing for crypto assets right now?
I know all of the rules for the Brazilian market.
Okay.
In terms
I don't
of the
know,
US,
I don't know what it's classified as. Like, can you market it, or do you have to hold the right licenses to market it? Or I don't know.
I don't know. There's a fucking arena called crypto.com arena, you know?
We're in the arena trying things.
Mm-hmm. No, in Brazil, I think that they really took an amazing stance, and this is sponsored by the Brazil Board of Tourism. But as long as it's not a scam, it's okay. But you can't advertise publicly derivatives to retail. So you can't do Twitter. You can't have events with like a derivatives exchange. Let's take Binance, for instance, or Bybit, sorry. Bybit was advertising on Twitter. They were hosting events, and they essentially got a stop order from the Brazilian government. And it's funny because if you're on the Portuguese site and you're in Brazil and you KYC Brazil, there's no derivatives. It's just spot. No problem. But if you change the website to English, there's everything with no limits, even if you're KYC'd as a Brazilian. It's just this weird loophole that it can't be in Portuguese and it can't be directed to
I mean, they're just taking the protections that you see in some of the offshore places, right?
Yeah, and that's okay. But like in the US, there's no derivatives.
Wow, but in the US, we need the business. We want the business to expand out our accounting, our accounting economies, our legal economies, like finance economies. But just don't. Yeah, I don't know the right term for it because tax shelter or tax haven is not the right word. But
no, don't advertise to retail. And what's funny is all of these exchanges have to report. Part of the deal is that they have to report to the Brazilian IRS. So the Brazilian IRS already it's called Receita Federal, already knows every trade, how much money you owe, how much money you have on these exchanges, just like a stock exchange would be in the US. So it's not like you can go do volume and then come back and file your taxes at the end of the year. And then they're like, no, we already know you did, I don't know, whatever, $1 million of volume. You can't lie or you have $1 million in this account. You can't lie and say, oh, I have $10 and I lost it all, because they see this every quarter, the IRS. And it's very open, it's very public, and it's unlike the US where it's like, I don't know, Kraken's trying to
exchanges for US users have their, what is it, 1099 or 1049, whatever. They have they report to the IRS.
No, they give it to you. They give it to you, right? But they don't file it. They give you the form, but they don't file it, or they do file it. Because I know Kraken got in some dispute, I don't know, last couple of months.
Yeah, but they lost that dispute. But that dispute was from, so I think you're right, actually. Coinbase might do it. Kraken, I think, was fighting it, but that dispute was from like, I don't know, 2020 or something like that, 2021.
Yeah, ages
ago. A few years back too. So I don't even know if it applies today. I'm assuming you can use precedent and apply it today, but
yeah, I don't know. I just saw somebody like, oh, where can I trade stocks on chain? It's like, dude, you're not going to be able to trade securities on chain, bro. Go get a fucking broker's license. Like, what's wrong with you, bro? Like, just go get a stock brokerage account. You're not hiding anything on the blockchain anymore, guys. Like, I don't know why people have this. Well, it's like fully anonymous when it's not.
I also don't understand groups that create like synthetic Tesla stocks or synthetic, Apple stocks and put them on chain.
Like FTX.
Because that is the fastest way for the SEC to come down on you, because that's their domain. So you start building synthetics on like US listed securities, and they're gonna apply pressure to like wherever you exist in the world.
Of course, they have the full reign of the whole world when it comes to the U.S. financial market. So people are just silly. Like, I don't know. You're not hiding anything. You have to pay your taxes. You have to file stuff every year. And like people like with me, I don't know. I took a call the other day. He's like, "Oh, we don't talk to Annans." I'm like, "What do you mean? I'm KYC'd with you, bro. That my name is just Marty. Okay, you just know me as Marty, but I'm KYC'd with your company. We trade with your company with my real name, my business name, my ID. Like I'm fully KYC'd, guys. It's with your own company." And he's like, "Oh yeah, I didn't know that." I'm like, Jesus. We're in a KYC world, right? We're all just living in it, you know?
We don't do business with anons.
Yeah,
I'll give you
he literally said that. I was like, okay.
I'll give you the contrarian other side that crypto natives who are paid in crypto and who don't really deal with fiat other than paying for their bills want to be able to have access to the same financial tooling and tooling suite as they do in traditional finance. So when you say, why would you have a synthetic stock of Tesla? It's because why do I want to take my, like what is my fiat, ETH or stable coins, and have to move it out of the system to then go on to another platform on someone else's network, quote unquote, and trade there?
Okay. Would you KYC if there was an on-chain KYC if you could use your fiat of choice?
See, like, I am totally okay with
here's yeah, totally. If my like goal was just like I said, like if my reasoning was like, look, it's too cumbersome because of my situation. Like I'm a crypto native. I don't get paid fiat for anything. So for me, yeah, if I wanted to trade stocks on chain, then I don't see any reason why uh, if I wanted to do that, I wouldn't also be willing to KYC. Um, I understand the like nature of crypto is to not have to do that, right? Like it should be that anyone can create anything and anyone can do anything on chain. uh, because it's just code, right? And that's one view of it. But on the other side of it, if you're if you're in the US or you're in countries that have certain regulatory restrictions about certain types of financial products, then you have to follow their rules. You're playing on their game board.
No, I get that. But imagine just like CME on chain, NYSE on chain. Like that's
Yeah.
all they need to do. And we accept you can upload your document, your biometrics, whatever.
Yeah, let's take a step and let's quickly discuss like ZK credentialing. So there's a few groups that are coming around that are doing it. Like there's even like Knox who does this for Web3 contractors. But essentially what happens is there's a third party who that you use that kind of is a central location to look at your documents. They fully encrypt them. They only prove a few things, right? That like your jurisdiction, like any sort of credentials that you need, like if you needed to be an accredited investor, which I think is a stupid fucking thing anyways, but something like that. And then like you're not a known terrorist. Yeah, right?
Sure. OFAC chain.
Yeah, exactly. OFAC chain. And it just proves those three things, right? And it grants you a credential, which is only that you can't move, you can't do anything, but they'll issue it to like one of your wallets, right? And then because you have that in your wallet, it's a signal to everyone else that says, I know that this person, is domiciled in the U.S. and they're not a known terrorist and they're not funding terrorism, right? And so, but they don't know my name, they don't know my address, they don't know my age, they don't know my social, they don't know any of those things because they don't need to know those things because the requirements in the law state that like, I just need to make sure that you are not, laundering money or funding terrorism, right? So I have assurances that didn't happen without me giving my information to 1,000 different companies who all end up getting hacked and putting it on the dark web anyways.
Dude, where is Vinny Lingham and Civic right now? Like, I feel like, do you remember Civic and Civic ID?
I kind of remember Civic, yeah.
From they were, one of the ICO like tokens of the 2017, 2018 era. And they had all of this credentialing on chain. You know, they had a whole system for it, and you KYC'd, you'd add whatever, you know, personal identifiable information types on there, and then when you were like applying to something or someone was requesting your credentials, you could approve which of the you know, which information from your civic ID was revealed to them. So it was like, you know, you could load all of this private personal data onto there, and then you could selectively share with different entities, you know, pieces of that information so that there weren't these full information leaks, you know, by different groups. It was just, oh, if they just need, let's say, a country of origin, date of birth, first name, first last name, and like, you know, whether you're sanctioned, you know, they can run that without also having your address and your mother's maid. You know, like there's, you know, things you could choose to share with different groups. But all of this on-chain credentialing stuff that's kind of coming around and like uh, being more of a being on more of the forefront of discussions, it seems like they were just like too early because it fits the bill for like what everyone's trying to do now.
Yeah, there's been a lot of innovation in this space, especially in the last year. It doesn't get a lot of attention because it's not sexy. There's not a lot of like the value extraction is going to happen with all the VCs that fund these at first, because like
Yeah.
there is no speculation on these, and it's just like foundational infrastructure that we're all going to end up using. And there's so many platforms, and like ironically enough, I don't know if it's ironic or not, but there's a European regulatory body that has actually been doing work on this for like 5 years, and like they have like standards, and they have, you know, like of how a DID should be set up so that it's composable, you know, from like a protocol level. So like if authorizer A and authorizer B both give you credentialing, that like if I'm a consumer, if I'm like a exchange and I need to request this credentialing, I can take it in the same format, whether it's from authorizer A or authorizer B. It's just, I think that now it's just kind of a battle for in a land grab of like enforcing those standards, right? And so they need to all come to agreement. I'm happy to have many different providers of this information. And then just like, you know, onboard all of these different providers of this information, so you can choose which, you know, KYC OFAC chain you want to join and sign up for. But I see that as being like a good middle ground.
One thing they were showcasing, a product they were showcasing for a while, was an alcoholic vending machine. So like they were at the different conferences, and you know, people could go up and scan their civic ID, and from there it could verify, you know, their date of birth without exposing, you know, who they are, where they're from, any of that kind of information.
Is like the prime
that's
example.
what WorldCoin is for, bro. Like we don't need anything else. We just need WorldCoin.
You see, this is my point. Like Civic was far too early, because now you have all this shit that's coming out that you know, is I think much more dystopian and Black Mirror-esque than Civic was. And Civic kind of, it seems like it was a solution to a lot of the kind of credentialing use cases that are being thrown around right now.
Look, I honestly think that there's all these groups that are building this infrastructure, and it is either they're going to get consumed and get bought up, because this is going to live on your phone. This is going to live on your wallet, on your your Apple phone.
Your RFID chip.
It's going to be biometrically unlocked with your
RFID in your wrist,
and it's going to be housed within the, you know, siloed vault on your local device. Right, that's where I see the future going.
Okay, what happens if you come to Brazil and somebody snatches your phone, DK, and then they sell it?
They still need to unlock it, right?
No, what you're saying, you can't brute force a phone.
You don't have to unlock them anymore. If I get a hold of your phone, I can wipe it.
These things will have to be biometrically locked, whether it's through Face ID, whether through a thumbprint. I think that these will need to be in encrypted vaults that are only able to be unlocked through a biometric. Then you get the savings of having a biometric authentication that this is the actual individual who they say they are, And then so you don't get a bunch of WorldCoin people that are like selling their eyeballs.
Yeah.
And then, you have it on a device that's always readily available to you. And you like, in terms of all the different companies that you could trust, I honestly feel like Apple is like actually in the interest of its consumers in terms of like how it fights back to the government, the different things that they allow for, and like not putting back doors in, and like the government trying to like force these things into them like legally. So I can see this kind of stuff living on your device. That's where I see the future going with a lot of this stuff. But that's why
on that topic and kind of tying it back to
in them, because Apple's just going to wait until they all build up the standard and agree upon a standard, and then they're just going to implement it, and all these companies are going to go poof.
Yeah.
Have you guys ever used Clear at the airport?
Yeah, I love.
Yeah, we essentially.
Yeah, so I mean, I don't use Clear specifically, but yeah.
Yeah, we need a global entry. We need a Clear. You need what Clear for domestic, right? But yeah, you essentially need that on chain.
We call that first class.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I mean, it depends on your economic situation, because like a lot of these like high tier credit cards will just pay for it for you.
Yeah,
sure.
Is they pre or Clear or whatever. But
you want to know the biggest rug?
Tell me.
What?
The Amex Platinum in Brazil is plastic.
No way.
Fun fact of the day.
They might have to replace a lot of those.
So what is this, like 2006? Come on, guys.
So when we were talking about like all of this stuff kind of being baked on your phone, and then like stocks being on chain and the ludicrousy or not of that, if you believe that like everything is going digital, right? Like, wouldn't it just make sense for these traditional finance products that people want so badly in DeFi that aren't needed, such as like stock exchanges, to just accept stable coins as a base currency to trade with, and then you would capture a lot of the people that are wanting this like on-chain experience? Because I think for a lot of them, they just want to use their crypto, and they don't want to go through the process of converting to then go buy the product that they want to on the exchange.
Or maybe you can't, right? Maybe you can't exchange for fiat. Like in the US, go try to do $1 million in crypto through a bank. They're like, oh, where'd you get this? Oh, we're just going to close your account because it's high risk, right? So that was back to my question earlier.
Maybe a little high risk. I don't know, but I will say that it's a lot easier. Yeah, 7 figures, 8 figures, maybe a little bit different. But
okay, what offboarding do you have in the States right now?
I mean, it's a banking relationship over the course of a decade. Then they have all the KYC checks. I think it depends on the situation, but 7 figures is relatively easy. I could see 8 figures or 8 figures being harder.
Sure,
but
no, let's just take the retail Joe. Oh, he wants to buy whatever. He has USDC. He wants to get it out. Oh, he goes to, I don't know, Coinbase.
I mean, if his average bank deposit is like 10 grand, and then one day he tries to move $2 million into it, then yeah, that might be an issue.
No, yeah, you just need the exchange to accept stables, and then you just need some sort of, like that's why I asked Cozy, like, would you be okay with doing like an on-chain KYC OFAC chain kind of thing? So you wouldn't have to convert, so you wouldn't have to move out of your own fiat, right? If you're a crypto maxi.
To your guys' point, though, I don't know if you guys knew this, but Goldman in like 2015 patented Settlecoin. They have Settlecoin.
Amazing.
But I can see a lot of these institutions moving to a permissioned blockchain infrastructure for the settlement of especially like US equities, US listed equities.
Sure.
Or even making a global equity market. However, I think it's gonna be permissioned, and like you're already seeing like the DTCCs of the world, and like the Euroclears and the Swifts like already heavily investing in this, because like it's gonna totally upend if they don't embrace it. Like the banks are just going to go around them and just, they can settle broker to broker pretty much everything. And then they'll have a decentralized exchange, like a real decentralized exchange. So they don't need to go through a clearinghouse or a CSD any of that stuff. Registrar.
Yeah, the thing with the U.S. is things just still move so slow, right? It's always T+2 day settlement. Wires take, I guess domestic or same day.
I'll tell you what.
But international is 10 days. Like, come on, guys.
Boney Mellon, which is arguably probably the biggest financial institution in the world in terms of like capital, is the main custodian for U.S. bonds. So that's why. But like their infrastructure is like 80s still. Right?
Yeah,
and,
that's what I'm saying. It's like
we used to interact with them, and like they would they shut down their terminal, which was actually like super performant, but it was literally in a terminal, right? Like it looked like MS DOS.
It looks like Windows 98.
Yeah, but then what they did is they decommissioned the terminal, and they're like gave everyone like client reps, and you would like send your requests to them. And I think what they were doing is they just disabled it for all their clients, and the client reps were still going into the terminal and like downloading reports from the terminal and just sending it to you in Excel.
Jesus Christ.
And like, so that was innovation, right? Like,
oh God. Yeah, that's the problem, right? So yeah, here, in the amazing country of Brazil, another sponsored thing, we have Pix. So if you can move like $100,000 instantly, you can move bank to bank instantly, any size, through this thing called Open Finance. Basically like a wire transfer, but it's instant settlement, no fee, any size. And it's like the guy selling the thing on the beach for 50 cents to, me sending you $100,000 and anything or even higher than that is all instant settlement. And it's from the central bank, right? It's not.
Yeah. Open Finance is a standard. It's like a standard of bank messaging. Yeah.
Yeah. And then Pix is specifically from the Brazilian central bank. So Open Finance plus Pix, right? And then Pix is like this day-to-day QR code, phone number. It's basically, imagine you took Zelle, PayPal, Venmo, Cash App, whatever else the fuck you guys have up there, and just the central bank did it all. So instead of having 10 companies that don't talk to each other, the central bank just said, we're creating this, and everybody can talk to each other.
It's Fed. That's what FedNow is supposed to be.
Yeah, well, they're just copying us.
24-hour settlement, and it doesn't have to be institution only. Right?
No, it's retail. Yeah, for 5 cents, 50 cents or up to whatever size. So
yeah, I honestly think that people are going to start receiving their tax returns and their welfare on FedNow.
EBT is going to be FedNow for sure, 100%. Yep. That's the trial period for sure. And people will hate it at first, but then once they realize how much more volume and how much more e-commerce happens with it, and how I don't want to take cash anymore, just Pix me that shit, like. I don't want to go to the bank and deposit the shit. Just Pix me. It's free. There's no fee. There's no credit card fee. It's just like in Brazil. Pix is like 2 years old, and everybody was like, fuck this. This is the Fed chain. The Fed, is going to see all of our transactions. Guess what? They already do. Okay?
The prices of all assets will like drop 2 to 3% instantly. If the retailer is going to give you 1-2% discount on that asset if you're paying in FedNow versus like a credit card.
It's even more here. It's 10% discount.
Like
if you pay a Vista, which means if you pay now with no payments, if you pay with Pix over credit card, it's a 10% discount.
Yeah, it's like what the rest of the world is doing, except for the US.
Yeah, so that's what I was saying. Like once the FedNow and all that comes around, once the welfare EBT folks are the guinea pigs here, everybody else will adopt it. There's going to be some people, this fucking sucks. The government sees all of our money. Well, guess what? They already do, right? Like. If you think that they don't, or that
you're
they can't
away. Yeah,
if they can't close your bank account, good luck. Go ask Mashinsky or whatever his name is how that worked out for him.
That's right. They locked up all those assets.
Yeah, even a little. Yeah, everything like 8 accounts or something. Koala institution accounts or whatever you call them. And then Pix is 2 years old, 6 months. Oh, this is terrible. And then now, good luck even trying to use cash because everybody has Pix. My mother-in-law, my wife, if you were here, you would have it. The guy selling it on the beach uses it, so he doesn't have to transact in cash or carry coins or whatever. And it's all digital asset world that we're moving into.
Yeah, they're doing that in the U.S. now too.
Is tax directly plugged into it?
Is what?
Tax. So
one of the things for the merchant.
Well, one of the both on a sales tax level, but also on a income tax. So one of the things that came about, was it end of last year or was it this year? And I think it's this year and it goes into effect next year. Is like any transaction I think is over 1,000 needs to be reported. That happens on any of these fintech apps, so like Venmo, Cash App, whatever. Because what you're seeing a lot of just like peer-to-peer payments that are happening, and like they're not paying income tax on it, they're not paying sales tax on it, they're not paying any taxes on it. So they're going to implement this so that people stop trying to circumnavigate the taxes, similar to how like traditional business mom and pops cash is usually typically not recognized, right? If you pay cash, I don't have to report that it was an actual sale. And so you're seeing a lot of that happening, and a lot of the businesses starting to take Venmo payments and stuff like that.
The farmer's market or whatever. There's always going to be that, right? So here, there's no sales tax exactly. So it's not like each state has different tax. Each state has different tax that the manufacturer and distributor pays. So maybe when you go into the store, it's cheaper, but there's not let's say it's $9.99. It's $9.99 at the store, and there's not like like in California, there's a 10% add-on. So it's $9.99. Well, it's actually 10. It's actually over $10. So there's not that
countries. It's the price you're paying.
Yeah, UK, I'm pretty sure it's 600 now. Like as of last year?
It could be. I know that that's the issue they're trying to tackle.
So
a lot of
peer-to-peer,
like rent payments.
Dude, I spend more than $600 a month at like the dispensary.
Our corporate our office lease payment happens in Zelle every month.
Yeah, that's
right.
Insane.
Like
that's insane.
So like I doubt that he's recognizing that, right? And who knows if he even reported that he's subleasing it, right?
Yeah, exactly.
It'd be odd to not like. Why would
not like that?
I guess that's my question. How would that not get recognized on the other end? Because like if you're selling it, you're getting a direct payment to your bank account, right? Like through their bank wire like system that they have.
I know. I mean, but the thing is like if they're the only
so like it's tallied on your income.
You have to know. I think it's more of it's a threat saying we now can see that you're doing these transactions, so you better report them for tax purposes. They're just changing it from a bank transaction limit is anything under 10,000 they don't look at. I mean, there's still like I think what is it called structuring or factoring or whatever it's called. It's like they'll look at if you do like a $9,000 transaction and a $7,000 transaction within like 2 days, right? Like they'll consider that, especially if it's coming from the same location. They'll consider that trying to structure around the 10,000 limit.
Well, they can't say that when I keep my exchange limits low on purpose.
Yeah, well, what I'm saying is that like you also pay your taxes, so it's not really an issue, right?
Yeah.
So in the event that you're not paying your taxes and that you get an audit, they will have, essentially events in the database somewhere that says, look at all what you need to tell me what every one of these transactions were, and why you didn't report them as income.
They were all bridge loans.
The founder tax avoidance strategy.
They were all bridge loans.
All bridge loans.
No, exactly, right? No, so yeah, people don't pay their taxes. I mean, that's on them, right? But the money is always tracked, traced, and will always be, visible. It's not like you're not going to be able to, even in a cash payment. Oh, then I don't know. Somebody has to deposit it at some point, right? It has to get to some real world, not necessarily, but it should get to some real asset, some house, some car, some, I don't know, whatever. That there has to be some trace at some point.
Yeah,
I also think that like
there doesn't have to be like receipts or a traceable record of that though. Like, you could take that cash and then go to a jeweler in the city that will accept cash, and now you have gold, in place of that, or a nice watch, in place of that.
Yeah, that's gonna get less and less.
I mean, it could, but I mean, like you think about high-end watches that that aren't the ones that are just inflated because crypto and tech bros have their cocks hard for shiny things. But ones that have real value, like they hold over time. Like I mean, a couple of my watches have, even on the used market, they're up, 30-40%
Oh, for sure.
from the time I bought them.
All my hypothetical watch NFTs have risen in value over time.
I do like that idea though of taking an asset, throwing it in a vault, issuing an NFT so it's tradable. And
somebody's doing this, watches.io or something. They're
StockX
literally
does it.
But shoes, yeah.
No,
But
StockX does it for like anything.
Ooh.
You can send anything, and they'll vault it for you, and they'll send you an NFT that you can trade, and then whoever redeems that NFT can then gets to then they'll send you the asset.
I like this. No, that's interesting. That's a new way to look at it for sure. I gotta jump off, guys. I'm gonna have some lunch, but it was good chatting.
Yeah, talk to you later.
Later, Marty.
All right, what do you want to talk about? Privacy pools, or should we say that for tomorrow? Let's save it for tomorrow so we can read over the entire paper. I mean, I know enough to be dangerous in a conversation today, but maybe we should spend the night, read over the paper, and then come back fresh tomorrow.
Cool. That. I'm down. We'll just kind of laugh at this one thing. I thought that I saw the notification on. I follow Zach XBT has a Telegram channel where it shows you like all of the rugs and kind of phishing scams that are taking place. And I saw this thing for a crypto whale who was phished for 24 million worth of staked ETH, LSPs, yeah. Rocket ETH, I think. And reading, I don't remember which article it was, but it was saying that this is possibly like the largest amount lost from a phishing attack in crypto, at least.
Yeah, I mean,
did you look into this at all? I checked out the address and stuff. I don't know if anyone knows who it is yet.
I know that we had someone in our community that let this same exact thing happen yesterday. So I don't know if there was maybe like a wallet leakage somewhere, or if it was a true phishing, because it's like, oh, this person approved the increased allowance like transaction. Ours was more of like a seed or private key leak, but oh, weird. Oh no, never mind. So yeah, so you know what's so they moved it to fixed float, right? Which to my understanding is an atomic swap platform.
Yep.
And I know that fixed float on terms of like the elliptics and the chain analysis and all the like OFAC risk, what are they called? KYC AML based wallet monitoring is now hitting fixed float is like relatively high in the risk score. So like if you've ever interacted with fixed float now, it's essentially like the same as if you interacted with Tornado Cash. And so like if any of those front ends are implementing that kind of restrictions, like I would avoid fixed float now because it's hitting those pretty high on the risk.
Which is crazy. It's not really. I mean, like it seems like everyone is kind of defaulted to going through fixed float in the hacking and like crime world. But what I'm surprised is that
size. Is it because you can do size?
I think it's because of like the atomic nature of fixed float. Like if you could do size on Changely, right? Like you may get it held depending on where the flow of funds came from. Like if you're pushing too much, but non-custodial swaps like Changely are more than happy to take the volume, and they even have like kind of an OTC service, but you do have to KYC for the OTC kind of thing. But I've watched people shove millions through like in just shotgunning $20,000 orders, even $50,000, $100,000 orders through those sites. I definitely think it's because when you use something that's a hot swap like that, what they're actually doing is they're just trading on your behalf on a centralized exchange. And obviously when that's happening, you run the risk of the exchange flagging the account that they're trading on with your money, and having to go through a form of KYC process to get it unlocked or to get the trades complete. So yeah, probably risk, for them, it's a higher risk to use the more traditional non-custodial swaps.
We should write in our notes that do a session on the managed account nature. Like when you said that essentially what you're doing in these atomic swaps is that you're funding one wallet. They're sending a bunch of API triggers that says sell this and buy this. And then it's funding, it's doing a withdrawal from the centralized exchange into the wallet that you requested.
Yep.
That process is similar to like a managed account, only they're doing it in like an omnibus structure. I think we should have a discussion. We should put it on the notes one day to maybe we can get someone on from like a Fireblocks or a Copper or a BitGo or something and talk about that, because I could see a lot of that on chain, like the what did CZ call it? CDFI. I can see a lot of CDFI having a sort of a renaissance here pretty soon, because there's a lot of interesting ways that you can do that now, where the chance of rugging is a lot more minimal, but also there's like from a liability perspective, you can claim certain things. I think at least you can claim a plausible deniability by using some of these platforms.
A lot of the non-custodial swaps started integrating DEXs into their, like workers, I guess you could say, so that they could offer pairs and assets that weren't available on their centralized exchange counterparts. So you've kind of seen, this new form of shared accounts that they kind of do. You don't know it as the user, because, you don't own and you can't access this, sub account essentially. But that is how they operate. You're either sending directly to one of their like trade wallets, or you're sending sometimes directly to their sub account on an exchange. And they just have like little workers that go, okay, hey, I received this many funds, this many confirmations have hit, time to make the trade. And if they can't execute it, then they just revert the trade. But a lot of them have like slippage tolerances internally, so they're willing to take up to so much of a loss on the trade to still complete it. So like you'll see sometimes like on the higher volume pairs like ETH BTC, BTC ETH, sometimes because of volatility or because of confirmations, like it'll be a losing money trade, but they're still going to complete it because they know that that customer is going to use like their service again if they do it fast. So for them, it's like as soon as they can get it out, if they're not losing too much, they're going to send it through anyway and just make it up on, they're picking up pennies. So they're just going to make it back on the next 2 or 3.
Gives me an idea. So obviously atomic swaps starting to integrate DEXs, probably already plugged into like the 0x's, maybe even plugged into something like a Thor. Add in these CDFI elements, and then some of the aspects of the privacy pool, like the ZK knowledge of, did this wallet ever interact with a known, terrorist financing or nuclear weapons financing program? You put all those together into a single aggregator, you got a killer. It's $1 million idea right there.
All right, I'm gonna cut that from the show before I post this on YouTube.
We can't go build it first. We'll go build it.
We're gonna see it in like 2 weeks with a token.
Hey, we bet as long as we get an allocation, it's all right. We have a lot of great ideas. We can't build everything.
Yeah, Dragon the Waifu King clipped that already, so we're fucked.
Oh damn.
All right, we're a bit over, but it's all right. We'll wrap it up for today. I want to thank everyone who popped in. We had a lot of people in the chat, a couple new followers on Twitch. We appreciate you all. We will be back tomorrow, 11 a.m. EST. See you then.
Adios.